Good morning, Miami. It's a beautiful morning out there. People going to work, taking their kids to school, walking their dogs. It's gorgeous out. I've got my two colleagues here, Christian Leilon. Let me bring them up.
Good morning.
Nah, I didn't bring you up yet.
Oh.
Let's do this right. There you guys
Good morning. Good morning.
Christian Leilon. That's right? Leilon.
Lolong.
Lolong. We'll
Yes,
get
sir.
it right. We'll get it there. My man over here, Ralph Pena, Managing Director of Collier. Say hello, Ralph.
Good morning, everyone.
Here we go. Commercial real estate news focused on South Florida. Christian, bring us in.
So let's start today with checking out the market. The U.S. 10-year Treasury note. This is from the Wall Street Journal. And right now, the yield is at 1.7%. This is currently a live look at it right now. So it's kind of at 1.7. It was at 1.730. Now it's at 1.729, but it's hanging around there. And over the last month, it's just consistently been going up. So it looks like it's a really, really good time to get some bonds going in. Article-wise, I got this first article here. This is from The Real Deal. And the title for this one is called Industry Vacancy Rate Hit a Record Low. This is a report written by Holden Walter from Warner. And it says that the squeeze is intensifying the industrial real estate market, which is setting record low vacancies and enormous net absorption, pushing up rents and following one record quarter with another. Cushman & Wakeman's industrial market report Wednesday found vacancies across the United States at 3.7% for the fourth quarter. It was the first time that the vacancy rate had fallen below 4% since the firm has been tracking it since 1995. As well, vacancy rates could continue to shrink. Demand is outstripping supply in the market by almost 50%. Net absorption hit a new high last year at more than 500 million square feet, while leasing new activity also set an annual record at 879.9 million square feet.
And what are you talking about?
So this is
real estate?
So this is industrial commercial real estate. That's what this is all about. So we're definitely seeing
Vacancy rate was what?
At less than 4%. It was at 3.7% in the fourth quarter. So definitely just we're seeing nationwide just rent going up, record setting quarter after quarter, and as well the vacancy rate is just consistently going down. So demand is definitely supply is definitely not being able to keep up with demand right now.
Yeah, that's everywhere. Even here in South Florida. I mean, South Florida. Dave just worked on a project last week, and it's been the consensus. Rents going up, vacancies going down, strong demand for industrial. Just overall, it's just been blowing up here in South Florida.
The main thing that this article is saying that is kind of put to blame as to why this is happening is construction. So it says here that the amount of industrial space under construction is also at a record level with 568.2 million square feet. So as we know, because of the last 2 years with COVID and as well the supply chain issue that's going on, I feel like until that gets resolved and construction is able to start coming in and labor is starting to be able to come back in, we're not going to see any big difference. We're going to continue seeing this trend. We're not going to see a rent going down or anything.
Yeah, I mean, you've got it kind of correct. They're out there.
Mm-hmm.
Butters is a big industrial firm here in South Florida. And, they're trying. Here's the thing you need land first.
Yeah.
And the big thing is Amazon's buying up a lot of the land for the last mile distribution of their e-commerce, right? So you need industrial land. And when you're trying to find big clumps of, big acres of land that you can build a huge industrial building, now you're competing with the multifamily guys.
Mm-hmm.
And the multifamily guys can actually pay more because their assets are making more. So you've got this big competition out there on how they can secure the land for what you're going to build.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why, it's not so much of the constraints of materials because of the COVID bottleneck and material distribution that we're seeing with the containers and everything. That it's more or less really finding the land in South Florida. I mean, we're land constrained down here. It's a scarcity, and that's why you see a lot of the brand new 34-foot clear Class A industrial being built out by the Turnpike, out by I-75, because they have room out there where you have the Flagler Station and what have you.
Yeah, and then also in the out west corridor, when you're dealing with multifamily, you have to deal a lot more with environmental, right? When you get more into the industrial side, environmental plays a role into it. But in my opinion, they're not as scrutinized as far as when it comes to multifamily, because multifamily, obviously, you're living there, right? When these industrial park, they get the availability to go to the west part, more in the I wouldn't say the Everglades, but the outskirts of the development corridor,
right?
Which is interesting because you drive up the Turnpike on the west side, all the brand new development going on there. And also too, you have the Turnpikes which lead to 75, goes into 95, go to all the ports, and
it plays in logistics, industrial.
And that's the trend. In fact, Amazon, I mean, you're seeing that pop up in West Kendall.
Yeah.
Which is, back then you wouldn't even think about a distribution center being built in West Kendall.
Yeah, that's by my neck of the woods, and that's not even the only one being built, because there's the concrete facility nearby there, and then and as well you have every time I go to the back roads of Dolphin, I just see like new facilities getting ready to be built or constructed. Like I know they're trying to build like a brand new mall center there in that area. So it's just it's definitely like you said, they're all going more west, and that's why at least personally, by my neighborhood, I'm seeing a lot more apartment complexes being built and things like that.
So you're talking about low vacancy. I got an article right here. This is through CoStar. Jay Lebec, National Director of Multifamily Analytics, says U.S. multifamily forecast retains record low vacancy for 2022. Double-digit rent growth projected to moderate as rates move toward new norm. Let's see what Jay has to say. Unprecedented demand for apartments combined with vacancy rate hitting historical low created record-breaking rent growth for U.S. multifamily properties in 2021. These other positive demand drivers are expected to continue at strong levels into 2022, allowing the vacancy rate forecast to hold a current record low of 4.5 throughout the year. What was your industrial?
It was at 3.7.
So it's so there's more demand to build industrial than there is, right? So it says absorption, or the net change in units that become occupied during the year less move-outs, expected to decline from the record pace last year, but not due to weakness in the sector. Rather, the current tight vacancy conditions are acting to moderate demand. We are expecting absorption to hit 372,000 apartment units in 22. I don't know how that factors down in South Florida, which is a 20%, I guess it's the macro report, which is a 20% higher than the 5-year average before the pandemic. 20% higher absorption rate.
Wow. I mean, it's interesting that you brought up this article, because it kind of goes hand in hand with the one that I was looking at in the Herald, which deals with what's the most overpriced housing market in Florida. And it kind of go hands in hand with that, is what's driving some of the vacancy that, drop in South Florida and demand for rent. Because right now, the monthly reports say that in South Florida right now, the median price for a single family residence jumped 11%. Right now at the $502,750, up from $450,000 a year ago. According to the Association of Realtors, the median condos soared 28% from $346,000 up from $270,000 about a year ago. Now, this was interesting. Ken Johnson, he's an economist out of FAU College of Business. He compared the rest of the state, noticeably Miami and South Florida. It's actually, compared to the rest, it's not on the top when it comes to overvalued, as far as the values are concerned. Lakeland, it's 40.6%, and Tampa is at 40%. Now, what was interesting about all this is, which ties into your article, he recommends consumers keep renting until they find the home that best suit them and reinvest the money that would have gone into buying a home, which can lessen the demand for housing and help steady the imbalanced South Florida housing market, which leads to, they kind of go hand in hand in the sense that the strong demand for single family residence and the increase in pricing has caused rents to go up in the multifamily sector, and it's caused vacancy to go down. So, right here we're seeing what it's causing this, increase in rent and drop in vacancy.
This says apartment rent growth to moderate across most markets. South Florida, I believe, is like the third highest compared to Orlando. Looks like the highest at like 20%. South Florida is at 20%. Oh no, looks like Las Vegas apartment rent growth year over year is around 22%. I guess Vegas is bringing in the top. I mean, I guess it's all that pent up demand.
Yeah.
It's interesting that he's telling people to, because, let's say we talked about this on the first pod, like, excuse me, if you're going to take advantage of the frothy market and you're a homeowner and you go and you buy, you sell your house, for X amount, and now you don't have, you want to sit back and rent an apartment, a nice apartment with the family, waiting for your ultimate house to be bought. He's saying that take your time, and invest in something else.
Yeah, which is interesting because
did he say what to invest in? Or
no, he just said basically invested in something else. I mean, look, at the end of the day, if you're going to sell your house right now, where are you going to go? You're going to pay a much bigger premium.
Mm-hmm.
You're probably going to get less bang for your buck. So unless you're at that age where your kids are out of the house, you're tired of having the big home, want to sell your house, get that cash, move into a nice luxury Class A apartment, and then just, the baby boomer age,
right?
Just reinvest in stocks, reinvest in real estate and in commercial real estate, which help us.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's interesting that, if you look at a first time home buyer right now, who can afford a $500 and $2,000 home right now?
I certainly cannot.
Yeah. Your salary would have to be somewhere, six figures.
The way that my understanding of it is, like, you get your income and then you multiply that by, like, I think 2.5, and then that's around the range that you should be able to get.
Right. But if you just do behind the
people
napkin,
pay about 30% of their income, their annual income on their home.
Right. And it's just crazy. $502,000 right now, South Florida.
It's definitely, I would not say, like, for example, for me right now, it's kind of unimaginable right now.
Yeah, but you're 23, bro.
Yeah,
22.
yeah.
You're not supposed to be buying a $500,000 house.
Well, that's the dream, right? Dream big.
Dream big, and you will obtain it. You're in a great career, but it doesn't mean that you pop out of college and buy a $500,000 house.
Right, but
you shouldn't even want that. There's so much for you to do and learn and invest in, like, your career. Your whole life's in front of you, bro.
Yeah,
he's talking about baby boomers.
That's what I was gonna say. Like, I'm talking about somebody that's older. Like, if you're, for example,
now don't be throwing the old part out there. All right, like,
okay.
I gave you a compliment. You don't have to take it back.
Born in a different generation. Like, if you're,
guy's old enough to be our kid, man.
Like, if you're a grandkid, but
okay, so I got another article. It's I'm getting off that. Official Palm Beach County to restore and reopen JFK Bunker on Peanut Island. It's pretty cool. More than 4 years after a piece of Palm Beach history closed to the public, officials have agreed to set up terms that would see the county to take over the bunker built for President John F. Kennedy and other historical properties on the portion of Peanut Island. Palm Beach County Commissioners on Tuesday approved a 30-year lease with the Port of Palm Beach for $10 a year. Following a long and trying period of nearly a year to hammer out the lease details, it took a long time to hammer out $10 a year, I don't know, said Eric Call, the county's parks director. Port commissioners anonymously agreed to the lease in December. So let's see what it says. The summary of the article. What do you guys think about that? We are certainly excited, and we are here to support our municipal partners as well as the county in making sure that this is a success and something that is preserved for future generations. Riviera Beach City Manager Jonathan Evans said, "I don't foresee any situations where the county will not fulfill every expectation as they have with the bandwidth and the staff committed as the right motives to move forward." There were
Hey man, the history buff for me, I think it's pretty cool. But you know, at the end,
Exactly, right?
you have to have some vested interest in this. I
Mhm.
mean, this isn't just, hey, I got JFK bunker, come on down. You know, there's got to be more to it. This hits former residents as well, or it's just the bunker?
I mean, here's the picture of it. I'm showing it right now on the screen.
Yeah, that looked like a house.
Coast Guard Station on Peanut Island, Monday, November 25th. Coast Guard Station, a two-story frame colonial Riviera building built in 1930, served as the base for coastal patrons and rescue missions. The building, along with the Cold War era John F. Kennedy bunker and boathouse, are closed to the public while efforts are ongoing to refurbish them.
It looks
So
like
I don't think they're really showing the bunker, because the bunker maybe is underground.
it might
I
be
don't
the
know.
first page. Go to the first picture, all the way to
Here's
the top.
here's the first. That's Peanut Island. As you can see, it's a real hot spot in Palm Beach County for boaters on the weekend. You see the big sandbar. Everyone goes and docks their boat and has a good time with the family.
There it is.
There.
Oh, there you go. So
Yeah.
yeah, so it's it's underground, and I mean,
Concrete box with the president's seal.
yeah, man, waiting for tornadoes. I guess it'd be a good place for hurricanes too. All right, moving on. You got an article, Ralph? You got anybody else you got there?
Let me check here.
I got one if
Go.
for it.
Let's go.
so this one is coming from Biz Now. This is talking about Florida developers leads largest shipping container multifamily project in the United States. A development team is building a 52-unit multifamily project out of 130 used shipping containers in West Palm Beach, Florida. When complete, it will be the largest shipping container housing project in the country, according to Shelter Force. There's something, the interesting part that I wanted to talk about was, here we go. So the redesign lets them use 20 fewer containers and cut $1 million in costs, dropping the per unit price to $120,000. That was still higher than the original $105,000 per unit projection, but NJCC helped raise the difference from the private opportunity zone investor. And as well, the 20 units will be ground floor to micro studios and retail spaces. Units will be reserved for people making 60 to 100% of the area median outcome, with the 51% of those reserved for those making between 60 to 80 AMI. The interesting.
So that's affordable housing that they're making out of containers.
Yeah, and
Where's that located?
so this is if I'm not mistaken, this is going to be over by Wynwood, the Wynwood area.
And who's developing it?
It was going to be developed by Shelter Force.
There's no like other person, like there's no JV on that. Seems like Mana or something. which-
Yeah.
So it's
something.
Yeah.
So it's going to
off the
be
wall.
it's going to be an opportunity zone in Northwood neighborhood, and will include affordable housing units, largely geared toward artists more than anything. Well, the interesting part that I want to talk about was that, as we heard earlier, the original projection was 105,000 per unit, but then afterwards they found that the cost jumped to 145,000 per unit. So it's definitely it's 40,000 over than what they were expecting, and they did say that they were going to make a loss in the initial project building, but over time, as vacancy fills up, which as we heard through David's article, vacancy is very low right now, then they're expecting to make up that money over time.
Yeah, and I'm sure if it's affordable housing, they're getting subsidies.
Yeah, they're getting some tax
Some
credit
kind.
from
Mhm.
the local municipalities, the state. Going back to that, did it mention the average square footage? Maybe.
I can certainly find that for you. Give me a minute here.
If you look at these shipping containers, shouldn't be more than 300-400 square feet.
There's another project going over in North Miami Beach, kind of in that little Haiti area, where they're doing a skate park, kind of same thing. The guy's a national skate park skate park
Mhm.
builder nationally, who took a cool project and was putting it in North Miami Beach with containers and like a cool place where you can go with the family during the weekend or whatever, and your kid can skate around, and they're gonna have like kind of like a food truck, like a food little core, and I think they have craft beers and things like that. So it's like, you can actually sit and watch the kids or watch other people skate, and it's like it's a cool alternative activity for
Sounds
families.
pretty cool. I know my brothers are really big into skating. Ralph, unfortunately, the article doesn't mention the square footage, but I'm assuming if we're getting just the very typical, shipping container, then I think they're just going to stack it on top of each other.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah. Certainly. And they're also building a facility where they're getting a repurposed shipyard in order to build those shipping containers in Jacksonville. And then they're going to send them down and build it up pretty much.
I wonder why they couldn't build them here.
I think
Like,
it's
why do we have to build them in Jacksonville and ship
Yeah,
them?
especially here with the Port of Miami having on the river. I mean, I have to just drive along that corridor and you'll see the shipping containers.
I think the shipping yard might be abandoned more than anything. So they're just getting that property, and then they're just going to get the facilities and just maybe fix it all up and build it up for
It
that.
doesn't say what's the address again? Sorry.
So for the Jacksonville shipyard, or
no, here.
So for this, it was in.
And was there a timeline, or like when are they?
Yeah, so it's going to be called Arts on Broadway, and it is in Northwood neighborhood. This will include.
Where's that?
I'm not familiar.
Is there an address?
No, just the general location.
Oh, okay.
And
Interesting. That's cool, man. Container. I like I like mini houses and I don't know, small alternative structures.
the city of West Palm Beach donated 5 parcels of land for the project. So that's how they're getting the area.
This is West Palm.
This is in the West Palm area.
It's great.
Interesting.
You have an article, Ralph?
I don't know if you guys discussed it yesterday. You guys talk about Westland Mall?
No, I don't think so. No.
Yeah, this was an interesting one. Starwood Capital, they recently sold Westland Mall for 149 million. They basically just assumed the mortgage. Centennial, a redevelopment firm outside of Dallas, they acquired Westland Mall outside of Miami in a deal that included the assumption of Starwood's roughly 149 million mortgage. Now, you guys familiar with Westland Mall?
No,
I mean, it's in Hialeah. It is basically at one point it was Dadeland, Westland Mall, and then they built International Mall. Westland Mall used to be the mall back in my grandparents' days, because one of the few malls where you had to be able to go shop and you didn't have the language barrier as well, because Hialeah, the huge Hispanic population.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting because this mall has,
Do you know the address?
Westland Malls.
Do you know where it is?
I know more. That's where it is. It's right off of 49th Street in the Palmetto.
Okay. Keep going.
And what's interesting, this was all driven due to COVID. Starwood was shutting malls often at a loss since COVID-19 pandemic forced.
Doesn't that say that's the last mall that Starwood owned, and that's the last one they're getting out of?
I believe so.
Palmetto and 49th. Isn't 49th like the big corridor?
Yeah,
over
the
there?
big corridor. It is a big corridor. And the exposure the thing has. I mean, in fact, I believe about 2 years ago, you might have worked on one of the out parcels in the back. This is right literally off the Palmetto and 49th Street. It's an iconic mall for those who grew up in South Florida, Hialeah.
So what are they going to do with it? Are they saying they're going to reposition it?
It hasn't gone to that level of details yet. It's just basically announcing the sale because it's a huge property. I mean, at the end of the day, we're talking about one of the most iconic mall back in the day being sold now for $149 million mortgage.
At one point, dinosaurs were iconic.
Yeah, man. But
you know what I mean?
I mean, think about it. I mean, when you start seeing the trades,
that'll be the next industrial vertical Amazon play.
Yeah, I can see this being more of a play, kind of what they're doing in Dadeland, where they're bringing in more. If you look at Dadeland now, it's become more of a restaurant. They're putting restaurants all over Dadeland.
Yeah.
They built a hotel in the back. I I mean, I can see in this area kind of redeveloping this to some mixed use, keeping the Westland Mall per se, because I mean, you still have, you know, the Victoria's Secrets, the Macy's, the H&Ms. They got the big players in there.
Yeah.
But I mean, at the end of the day, this does need some tender loving care. I mean,
Yeah.
Did it say how long it was on the market or anything?
no.
It just
It's just basically
reporting on the
just
sale.
reporting the sale, assuming the mortgage, which I found interesting. I mean, they just basically sold it for the note. I mean, that goes to show how far down malls have gone.
And the buyer was
Centennial.
yeah, I don't know. Maybe I don't know what to play on that. Maybe they're just holding it and Starwood wanted to get out of it and now they're gonna transition into a real, you know, until they get a real buyer in there to, you know, transform it or reposition it. So I've got one. Condo collapse trial set for March 2023. Condo Association defects blame. This is a huge national story that happened in our backyard.
Yeah.
The condo collapse, very sad. Says a class action lawsuit over the collapsed Chaplin Tower South will head to the trial in March 2023, just as the building's condominium association deflected blame for the catastrophic in a new court filing. Surviving family members and residents of the tragedy, which killed 98 people last June, filed a class action lawsuit this past November, alleging the Chaplin South Condo Association neglected its duties to protect and adequately renovate the buildings. Man, this is one topic, since I live in a condo building with a condo association, and I see that they're really not run that great. And even when people try, and you know, you have people on your boards that are lawyers and architects and engineers, that it's really hard for, if I feel like, people to come together and actually look after everybody's lives. And that's kind of like what people lean on for the board members. And it's almost not fair because they really don't have the skills as like a professional property management company. And I almost feel like it should be mandated, and I don't know really what that means. To be an owner of a property owner of the condo and have someone mandate that you have to have a professional condo association company run your, you know, and then because I just feel like leaning on normal people for your survival. I mean, I live in a huge tower that, you know, look what happened.
Yeah. And one other thing you got to factor here in all this is
scary.
Yeah, it is, because these associations as well is they want to keep the cost down. They want to keep the HOA dues down. Well,
which we know in management, keeping costs down is one thing, but then like
at what
alleviating cost
is
another thing.
But at what cost, right? We're back to,
or having an escrow. And I think there's a law. You were telling me this right there.
Yeah, there's got to be a certain percentage. But I just find what's interesting in all this is even with this experience, this is just going to be, you know, this is going to go away after a while, believe it or not. Within these associations, they're going to forget over the years. I mean, we're seeing it now. 30 years later, Andrew blew up half of South Florida and the South Dade area.
But
building construction, it changed the
zoning
code for everyone. But at the end of the day, if you look at the quality of the construction right now that's going on, it's not what it was when they first made the changes.
Yeah.
In this particular scenario, completely different. Lives, and whatever happens to this lawsuit, it's a lose-lose for everybody, because lives not going to bring back those that perished, right? It's going to make some changes. There has to be some changes.
Yep.
And hopefully what good comes out of all this to make these changes. But, you know, at the end of the day, the one who's going to be paying for this are going to be the individual condo owners, right? It's going to cause a spike in the condo dues.
Yep.
And then you're going to have pushback from the condo owners. And we're back to this merry-go-round of, you know, you can't make everybody happy, but at the end, you know, it's going to come to a point where, especially in these older buildings, who's going to pay for all this? For all these repairs? I mean, think about these. I mean, we were just talking about yesterday, 1980. That's 42 years ago. You got a condo building built in 1980. You're up for 40 years certification.
Yep.
So you're going to tell someone right now that's been in a building since 1980 When the certification comes back, that there's going to be some structural issues. They're going to have to do major reinforcement and construction into this project. And oh, by the way, your HOA dues, which were $200 a month, and now it's going to spike up to $500 a month to cover the cost.
People are probably going to sell the property. They're going to back up.
You don't know that. You don't know that. People want to pay for their safety.
Yeah.
So it's either you can afford to live there, or you can't afford that. It's not like buying a house and then saying that's what they call house poor. So when you spend all your money just to buy the house,
right?
It's just like having a car.
Yeah.
You have to be able to maintain it. You have to be able to put gas in it, oil in it, change the tires, fix the brakes,
alignment,
it's maintenance. So if you can't afford the maintenance, you don't deserve to live in it. I mean, that was the whole financial crisis where mortgages were being given to people that couldn't afford the house because they were on floating terms, interest only. And then when the bill actually came up, or when it actually the principal kicked in to their amortization of their mortgage, they couldn't afford it. And then now you have all the foreclosures. It's the same thing, man. Like,
yeah. And then, everybody thinks, well, it's going to drop the pricing of condos. Well, no, not necessarily. I just showed you the numbers right here. I mean, granted, this hasn't played in yet, but average condo, $348,000. It's up from like some ridiculous number, like 28%, right? Because if you can't afford a house, what's your next option?
A shipping container.
Or a condo.
Yeah.
Hey, leasing is an option.
Leasing is an option.
Yeah.
But it's going to be interesting across the board, county-wide, statewide, what's going to come out of all this. This lawsuit right here, it's not going to bring it. They're going to settle this. But I think what would benefit everybody is the end result would be to change the laws.
Yeah.
And force these associations to have some kind of reserve to be able to fix what really needs
I believe
to be fixed.
there's literally a law in Florida that says that if the association board members agrees that they feel that they're maintaining the condo in a certain way, that they don't have to have X amount of money in escrow to fix things. And that's what happens. I think that's a real law.
Right.
And what happens is, so what happens when something breaks or you need something fixed? Now they have to
Special assessment.
Yeah. And now you're putting people up against the wall. I mean,
Yep.
it's easier to plan for something and put a little away, rather than, your kid's 18 and they go, okay, I need $100,000 to go to school.
Yeah.
It's better to start at age 1 and put it away. So when he's 18, then you have a little money to pay for that school. It goes, it's the same comparison of a new house, a new HVAC, whatever it is, engineer report yearly, whatever, tri-yearly, whatever it takes.
And it's something as simple as what you just said, Dave, putting somebody in the board that
actually
has
knows,
knows what they're doing.
Yeah.
I mean, it should be, you could have two options. You could have a homeowner that's actual architect and engineer experience.
No, that's great to have on the board. A lawyer,
or you get a third party.
But just because you're all that doesn't mean that you're a manager. Like you know how to manage something,
no.
Right?
As an advisor, consultant, not as a manager.
Yeah.
But then you have somebody else coming in. I think the state should have some kind of requirement where you need to have some kind of audit done by a third party, something to that extent.
I think that's a really good idea. I'm kind of hoping that they don't settle that and this becomes kind of a landmark case. Yeah, like
no,
it's
a lot of people out there.
Yeah, but like what I mean by that is like I hope that this
something for sure.
They have to, because they need closure. And the only way they're going to have closure is by settling, because this could drag on for decades.
Yeah. Well, like my point was like I wasn't trying to be like insensitive. It was just like I was hoping that this kind of becomes a landmark case, like, and then all of those changes that you were saying can happen, where now there's new codes, new laws, new regulations that need to come in order to make sure that this doesn't happen again. That was like I wasn't trying to be a hey, yeah, I hope nothing happens. It's like,
well, I think what's going to happen here is this is just monetary.
Yeah.
So this is not going to make any changes to the law per se, but I think, the outcome of all this. I mean, look, we're still. They don't even know what they're going to do with the site once it's all
Mhm.
settled.
Yeah, they're
And
selling it. It's already bought.
It's already bought.
This did motivate the municipalities around the adjacent property. I mean, there have been committees established within inside those planning and zoning municipalities that are going out and now checking buildings along the beach and coastal areas. So I mean, this has already, started. Forward motivation or momentum to secure these homeowners, because that's what it is. You're giving uncertainty of, when it was great to live on the 25th, 26th, 40th floor, beautiful view, maybe 360 view of Florida, the water and downtown. It's absolutely beautiful, especially like like today. I mean, but now you got to make sure that, you got to take the uncertainty out of that, the risk out of living there.
I think that's kind of one of the driving forces with maybe single family residences and homes. It's like now they don't want to risk it.
For a single family? Are you working for a single family?
Well, as I live in one,
developer?
so I got to advertise my house. But I think that's maybe
Nobody wants to live an hour away, man.
It's all right.
An hour.
You might as well live in Key Largo.
Yeah, dude, that's an hour without traffic.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. No one wants to live an hour and 40 minutes away.
I mean, what's the
man, with
worst that
traffic.
happens? A gator, you wake up and a gator's like chewing on your leg or something.
I forgot something at 8:00. Went home, grabbed it, and came back. I think I was here at like 8:12.
Something like that.
Dude, when I grow up, I want to be just like Dave. Live in Brickell, walk to work.
Anyways, so I got one next Miami. Put it up there real quick. Oh, that's what's going on outside. There we go. Next Miami. Second 65-story 11 tower already 50% sold. That's crazy. Construction to begin by summer. Already 50% sold.
That's pre-construction too. Wow.
Developers of the 65-story 11 residents,
Mm-hmm.
as everyone knows, or maybe you don't know. 11 is a high-class strip club in the downtown area that's open 24 hours. So I guess they're extending their reach and creating a condo. So 11 residents beyond Tower and Park West say there is a very strong demand for condo units, and they may launch construction early, according to the South Florida Business Journal. In total, over 50% of the units have already been sold, even before the sales center opened. Opening, I wonder how that happens. It's even before the center opened. It sounds online, I get it, but it's just
50%.
50%.
Did they say what price point?
It does say 2 separate penthouse units valued at $20.5 million each were recently purchased by Jake and Logan Paul, the YouTube phenomenons, now boxers. The brothers made their 10% initial deposits after a virtual reality tour of the units. So they didn't even, there's no, the first 65-story 11 condo tower broke ground in November after quickly selling out 100% of the units.
Wow.
So it broke ground already. It's showing let me show this. Showing a heli where they can park a helicopter on the top, showing beautiful marble and glass and steel and beautiful skylines, Miami.
The amenities.
And man, it looks
sweet.
It looks really nice. And here's a map. Let me see if no, it's not a live map, but what do you think, guys? Go to the strip club, stroll up to your condo. I mean, it looks pretty nice. It doesn't say how much they are. Or I mean, I guess they bought the penthouses are going for 20.5, and that's an early pre-development price. So I'm sure by the time they're developed, if there's anything left, it'll be 25-30% above that.
Well, we're seeing the return of luxury condos, that's for sure. I mean, the return of condominiums as a whole. We know for a while there had been kind of stagnant for a while, but it goes to show that now there's a demand for it. Now, my question is, I guess when I look at these things, a lot of these, are they local buyers or are they international
Well, the Paul brothers, they are living half here and half in Puerto Rico.
Right.
They're getting that tax break.
Right.
And they were in LA. They're from Ohio. So, I mean, that's a domestic buyer,
Yeah.
but I'm sure projects like
Secondary
this, they're
homes.
trying to hit everyone,
Yeah.
right? They want that capital coming in from South America and Europe, that flight capital where people just want to put it so it doesn't depreciate, or deflate because of their currency, like in Argentina and such. But yeah, and you're going to get the people that living here, and then you're going to get the people that are moving here now, from New York and California and these different states and looking for tax breaks and, new opportunity. So, I mean, 20 million, 20.5 for a penthouse. I wonder how big it is. And what was the number for the penthouse at the Paramount? Do you remember?
Off the top of my head, it was somewhere in the mid-teens, I would like to say.
I think the Aston Martin, which is one of the coolest buildings almost done here in the downtown area, was around, I would like to say, the low 24, 5, 6 million or something like that.
Yeah. But
And then I know the one we just did on the beach, Sunset and Sunset Harbor, those guys are really building a nice place, Class A, and they're going to ask for around 40 million, which is in line. It's a big place, and it's I think it was around $3,000 a square foot with bay views.
Wow.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Ruff, you got another article, or you guys got
all I
anything
got
else?
for today.
Yeah, I've gone through mine.
Let me see if I've got one more. What else? What else is going on in your guys' lives? Are you guys going anywhere this weekend? Or Ralph, you got renovations going on in your house? How's that coming along?
Surviving, man. Nah, it's coming along well. Got the roof started. Just basically going to be working most of the week anyway. So
How much is a roof for a single family house nowadays?
depending. I mean, if you want shingle,
Well, I know it depends, but break it down.
typical, you're probably looking somewhere in the mid 20 to the mid 30 range, depending on what your size of your roof.
Mm-hmm. 20 to what? I'm sorry, 20 to what?
Mid 20s to mid 30,000.
20 to 30,000.
20 to 30,000, depending on.
And right now, like if I needed a roof and I had my contractor, general GC, how long? I say I want a roof, and then when does it get delivered?
Well, here's how it works. Depending, if you want shingle, you can probably get it right away. It'll probably take
But you have to get a permit.
You have
and all this
obviously
stuff, right?
the whole permitting process, and depending on the municipality you're located in.
So what's right away?
Right away would probably get your roof done within a month.
Really?
Yeah.
You can permit and get a roof
2
laid
months. Shingle.
in 30 days?
Shingle roof. We're not talking about tile.
Do you
barrel
know that,
tile.
or you're just kind of riffing?
I'm going based off of conversations I've had.
Okay.
Tile roof, you're looking 3 to 4, even as much as 6 months, depending on the material.
Mhm.
That right
So
now.
is that you're waiting on the material?
Correct. Right now, the demand is tile, barrel tile. That right now, there's a strong demand. Shingle, a month, max maybe 2 months, but the tile roof right now is where to go.
From my understanding is that a lot of roofs are kind of due right now. So and since people have been refinancing, they've just been fixing up their houses, like fixing up their roof or fixing up their water heater, or their AC units, changing those, because a lot of them are usually probably already past their effective life age. So I'm not surprised that for getting a tile roof, it'll be like 6 months, to get it minimum.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. I mean, I have the townhouse we're renovating up in Fort Pierce, and I'm still waiting on my impact windows that we ordered a few months ago. How long did it take you to get yours?
I put the order in March. I got the windows in August.
Yeah.
And that being on time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've heard it's gone beyond that.
Well, I think I put my order in October. And October, November, December, I was told end December, early January. Here we are, January 6th. And, I'm going to drive up there on Saturday and talk to the guy and say, hey, what's going on?
Mm-hmm.
Where's our windows? And I mean, what a long project to get impact windows. And it's hard to do any renovations right now in South Florida. Or maybe, I don't know, maybe it's all Florida or maybe it's national. I'm not sure. I know that in South Florida, it takes, I mean, you're doing in Miami, I'm in Fort Pierce doing mine, and it's just taking forever. It's like crawling.
Yeah.
So, all right, gentlemen, that's it for today. Thank you. Thank you, South Florida. Thank you, Miami. Have a beautiful day. Enjoy your weekend. Work hard. We're about to go to our work. So from us to you, them. See you guys.
But
See you guys.
See you on Monday.
Thank you.